I see you spinning a white wheel. Oh, I believe we're live. We're live. Okay, we are live, folks. A very warm welcome to you all. This is your weekly installment of Mauls Balls and All. As always, coming to you. I think we're 2 minutes late, which is good for us because there's no technical issues. And I've just got a notification there from YouTube saying we are live. Thank you very much, YouTube. Now, joining me at the moment is Mike Reedy and Richard Holland. Incoming is we have Peter Martin will be joining us shortly, maybe Claire Devney and Dara Weston, if he's allowed, because Dara Weston wasn't allowed because he didn't eat his dinner last week. So his missus said, no, you're not allowed out tonight. Okay. So Dara Weston, how are you doing? We'll see you shortly. Gentlemen, how are we? Mike and Richard, how are we doing? Are you well in yourselves?
Peter. Very good, thanks, Pete. And yourself?
I'm all right, you know. Bit of a rash on me. Bit of a rash on me hoop, but sure, you know, however. Sorry, Mike. What's your issue, Mike?
I said I put on an old Ireland rugby top on me tonight. One of the old.
I like it, Mike. You've gone retro. I like it. Very good.
It's an original copy, by the way. It's not retro at all. It's an original.
Oh, I thought. What year is that, Mike? Is that a World Cup?
Is it? 2007 World Cup. See, 2007 World Cup. It says it on there.
Somewhere. Very good. Hiya, Megan. How are you? Good to have you with us. Danny Brosnan. Shut the fuck up, Burke. Thanks, Brosnan, for that insightful comment. Well done. Thanks, Danny. Danny, by the way, I hope you shared it from the Ruck page into the thing, if you're watching. All right. Thanks, Danny.
Get on it, Danny.
Yeah, get on it. Exactly. Megan Augusta, that's a lovely top mic.
Yeah, I do like it myself.
Oh, guess who decided to join us? The cigar smoking
non-dinner
contrarian Mr. Weston. Dara Weston, how the hell are you?
Jesus. Good evening, gentlemen. Apologies for my tardiness.
For fuck's sake, Dara, for fuck's sake, come on now. How are you, Gregor? How are you? Good to see Ireland shirts on display ahead of the box fest. Yes. There you go. Yes, we are. Yes, absolutely. Sorry, Joe Lyons. Dara, how are you doing? Are you well? Are you all right? And how's things?
I'm doing grand.
Right.
Yeah, no, look forward to the weekend.
Good stuff. Okay, sorry, hold on, folks. It's just I just got flooded with comments here. Joe Lyons, a man's top proper colour that. Yes. Conan McIntyre is also with us. How are you, lads? Good to be joining again this week. Good to have you, Conan. Danny Brosnan sorting the group. Yeah, thanks, Danny. Good man.
Come on, Dan.
And Megan Augusta. Sorry, I don't have my glasses. I can't actually wear my glasses because of the glare. You must have dinner this week. Good man, Dara. Okay, right, folks. Peter Martin will be on shortly, and I don't know if Claire Devney is going to be able to join us, but we shall wait and see. Mike Reedy, the first topic I want to talk about is Stuart Hogg. This is nothing wrong of us to chat about because it's been well documented on BBC, on Sky News. His court case was today. It's public knowledge. I know, Mike, you had your reservations about discussing this, but it's out there. People are talking about it.
I know.
And let me just read something here. Stuart Hogg was rearrested today. I'm reading now. Police have confirmed that the 32-year-old was detained at a property in Hawick on Tuesday afternoon, July 2nd, yesterday. He is set to appear in Jedburgh Sheriff Court today, July 3rd. Hogg previously appeared at the Sheriff's Court, where he pleaded not guilty to charges of acting abusively towards the mother of his 4 children. And he also denied accusations of causing fear, blah, blah, and so on, so on, so on. So my question, Mike, and to all of you is, did Montpellier make a huge mistake? Now, I know we discussed this last week or the other week, but this only came up today, that he was rearrested. did Montpellier make a huge mistake? Is rugby at fault here, or what the hell is going on? Is talent being looked over for an offence, Mike?
I don't think it's fair to say that rugby is at fault, because rugby in general have rejected Stuart Hogg, but France haven't. French rugby there's a grey area in French rugby that allows indiscretions like this, and I don't know whether it's I don't want to be the man to cast aspersions about anything, but I mean, what Stuart Hogg has done it's well documented, as you've said, is wrong, and he's not a good role model, and he's not somebody I'd want to be representing me in any shape or form. So I don't really want to talk too much about it. I don't like him. I think he's a terrible role model. I mean, Scottish rugby washed their hands of him, which was the right thing to do, and French rugby should have stuck to that principle if they held the same etiquette as rugby people generally do. But he's a wrong un. There's no doubt about he's a wrong un, and I don't know. It stinks. It stinks. It really does. It's wrong.
All right. Okay. Richard Holland, your thoughts on this whole debacle? I just think it's mad stuff.
I think it's mad. Look, if I was the person in charge of the legal department at Montpellier, I'd be getting barristers involved to see how they can get out of this contract. I'll be quite honest with you. There's no need for it. He's, in my view, and I don't use this word lightly, he's a cunt, and he always will be. So, to me, look, I will say this: he's innocent until proven guilty, so we will give him the benefit of the doubt there. But it's looking like it just makes no sense, the fact that someone would even take the risk, given that the trial hadn't even happened and still hasn't happened, and they were offering him a contract. It's fucking madness. It just makes no sense to me. Like, and I wouldn't touch him with a fucking 10-foot pole at this stage, or even before, because I never rate him as a player anyway.
Well, you all know my feelings about Stuart Hogg.
Yeah.
Darragh Weston, I know we discussed it last week, but just I wanted to touch on it because it is very much rugby related, and as discussed last week or the week before, whatever it was, the optics are just all wrong on this. You were part of that discussion.
Yeah.
Hello,
like,
Darragh.
I mean, it's not so much rugby, it's him. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's rugby can't turn somebody who's decent into a toe rag. You can be a toe rag and play rugby and be good at rugby. You can be a decent person and be shite at rugby. Unfortunately, that's just the way it goes. Okay, add a bit of money into the mix, and then you can buy more expensive things to show off, etc. But I don't think rugby is at fault as such. It's still, I mean, Montpellier may have got a get out of jail free card there now, because I don't know how he managed to get a 2-year contract. His agent must have serious dirt on somebody in Montpellier, to get 2 years out of them.
Or Darragh, he's got some serious legal bills coming down his throat.
Yeah.
Yeah. Could well be.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Thanks, Darragh. Peter Martin, welcome, Pete.
Thanks, guys.
We were just discussing, Pete. Now it only happened today, but I know this was covered last week or the week before, whatever it was. Stuart Hogg being now. Look, it's all out in the open, so we're not saying anything that's handed here.
Yeah.
It's all out in the open. It's public. He was in court today. Stuart Hogg, he was rearrested today, and for whatever his misdemeanor, his abusive nature towards his family, his missus, and all that sort of stuff. But the question is, and I understand Mike Reedy's reticent, that he didn't want to talk about it. I completely get it. Pete, is this a misstep by Montpellier?
Well, if it is, it's it's called it's the chickens coming home to roost with them. Like, if they didn't do their due diligence, like before Hogg signed for Montpellier, let's wind it back. Before he obviously signed for them, he had retired fractionally prematurely. We roll back the chronology of how things worked out. He had said before the World Cup before the World Cup, and it was at the Six Nations, whatever, that he was going to retire.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, he was going to retire after the World Cup. Sorry. And then all of a sudden, he was retiring before the World Cup. And then it all came out that he deserted his wife and kids and went off with another woman.
Yeah.
And there was a whole pile of rumor and innuendo about what the reasoning behind it was going to be a bombshell, it was going to be dropped, and all this kind of stuff. Montpellier, like, it serves them fucking right, in my view. He's clearly, there's a questionable character about Hogg. He might have been a very good rugby player, but as a character, as a person, he's highly questionable. And he's not the type of person you probably want. You certainly wouldn't have him, as a poster boy for the good, wholesome stuff that we see, with our players, like, who are basically, you see them at the end of matches with the kids, out with the kids, and it's all cuddly, lovable stuff and all this kind of stuff. Hogg is far removed from that. You wouldn't have him anywhere with an ass's roar of children, let alone women or anything like that. He's just such a bad egg. And, look, not throwing too much shade, but perhaps on Montpellier, but like the owner of Montpellier is a bit of a dodgy character himself. Yeah. He's not whiter than white, so I suppose birds of a feather flock together. I don't know, but like, it serves them right. If they've lost their shirt, if there's a contract that he's signed with them and it doesn't encompass, in inverted commas, extracurricular activities, well, tough shit, lads. You knew what you were getting, and that's it.
Yeah. Totally agree. Okay, right. We'll park that one. I just wanted to get your opinion on that. Next thing is, lads, briefly, because it's popping up. It's popped up on several sites. Pete, I'll come to you first. Starting scrum half for the first test: Blade versus Casey versus Murray. Who are you starting? Who are you going to have on the bench, Pete?
Jesus, it's a good one, really, because for my money, the three scrum halves each bring slightly different, skill sets and point of difference to the party. For Murray, you have his physicality as a player, you have his massive experience. His rugby IQ is exceptional. He's been there for all the big moments. Double line, century of caps for Ireland. For Casey, he plays a game that is within a whisker speed-wise and style-wise of what Gibson Park plays, for my money. Plays at a high tempo, high pace, and the ball, he's effervescent. He's typical scrum half, pain in the Swiss. Blade brings something again a little bit different. I feel he's got a break in him. He'll be a threat around rucks. Safas would have to deal with, because he's got he's a fantastic turn of pace for my money. Blade may not be the best. I suppose, should we say, kind of control over a game maybe at 9. I just think he's a tad. He doesn't have perhaps the authority that other Irish scrum halves have, around the scrum and the base of the ruck. But he brings a running threat, for me. So that's the conundrum, really, that Farrell and his coaches have. Who starts the test? I would have said, if you're going like for like, if it's a question that we're going to play a high tempo game and it's going to be basically rinse and repeat of what Gibson Park has brought with Ireland, I'd say you can't go any further than Conor Casey. If it's a case that there's going to be perhaps a tactical variance or something a little bit different from a tactical perspective, perhaps when I say more tactical, it'll probably be a little bit more kicking. You can't go any much further than Conor Casey. And if it's a case that you just basically all out, I suppose, a threat around the ruck. If there's a belief that perhaps the South Africans aren't particularly, good at manning the rucks around the fringes, well then, perhaps Blade comes into the mix. So look, it's a hard one to call. Being honest, I would say that it's going to be between Casey and Murray.
Right. Okay.
And I would probably expect, regardless of what the result is, I would expect somehow that Blade will come in, will be on the bench, perhaps in the second test.
Right. Okay. Thanks, Pete. Dara, before I come to you, just a couple of comments there. Megan Augusta, start Blade, finish with Murray. Conan McIntyre, start Casey, sub Murray. I'm probably going to butcher your name. Tatum, Jewel. Not a Casey fan. Murray is my first choice. Okay. Gregor Galway, my worry if you go with Blade, it's not having chemistry with Crowley. That's a good point, Gregor. Yeah, okay. Dara Weston, who would you go for? Blade, Casey, Murray, start or bench? Who would you have? Is Dara still there? No. Okay, Richard Holland, we move on to you. Blade, Casey, Murray.
I am inclined to go with Casey to start and Murray to finish. I've seen how they do it down below in there's Darren now again. I've seen how they do it down below in Munster. It works, especially with Crowley. They do seem to have that connection. And as Peter said, that quick, efficient ball that Casey plays, where he's just boom, 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 boom. I think it will work if Ireland are going to go down the route of pulling the South Africans up and down the pitch, which might be a game plan because they're all big men, and have them blowing after half an hour. Then hopefully, if we're anywhere near, we can bring near or in touch or in front of South Africa, we can bring in Murray to control the game, which is something that he can do very, very well.
So would you have Murray on the bench then, Richard?
Yes, I'd have Murray coming off the bench for the last half hour, 20 minutes.
Right. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Okay. Dara Weston, you're back. Can you hear me? Are you coherent?
I can indeed. I switched to the phone. The Wi-Fi was going a bit funny. It was all going Brosnan.
Oh, right. Very good.
Sorry, Dara. Is it Dale or Dave we have?
All three of us. We're all here.
All right, Dave.
Yeah.
The Brosnan Healy Ray Wi-Fi network has affected Dara Weston. But the question I was asking Dara was Blade, Casey, Murray. Out of those three, who would you start? Who would you bench?
I'd have some combination of Casey and Blade, I think. Purely because of the fact Murray's 34 now. It's at altitude. He's good for 10, 15 minutes. But if we get an injury, he's not going to play a full game. I mean, he's look, realistically, it sounds terribly cruel, but is he still getting his game, or is he still getting picked out of sentimentality? He's got a century, hasn't he, of caps?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Dara, you could say the same for Cian Healy.
Well, we're stuck in the front row for props, So I mean, Holland nearly got a call there on Tuesday. So
I'm working.
I think we've more options at scrum half than we do at props. Okay, yeah, he is the wizened war horse who we can put on and do a job, but it's
he will only do a certain amount. He will only do a short. Like as it is, Porter is playing nearly full 80 minutes anyway, because they realise they only have Keane on the bench. You know, and he's not a 20-minute, 30-minute prospect. Even though the guy is incredibly fit, you know, age catches up with everybody.
Of course it does, yeah.
You know, and scrum halves, the key attributes is you have to be annoying, you have to be quick, and you know that's well, okay, you get more annoying as you get older. You're proof of that, Burke. But
Thanks very much.
quickness and
Thank you.
speed, you know, I mean, is Murray getting a bit long in the tooth? Has he lost his speed? You know, so yeah, personally, I'd go for probably Casey starting with Blade on the bench.
I would switch that, Dara, and then I'd agree with you if you get me.
You'd have Blade starting.
I'd have Blade starting. Yeah. I think Blade is a far superior scrum half to Casey. And well, you can disagree with me. I don't care. Mike Reedy, what do you think? Out of those three, start or bench, you got Blade, Casey, and Murray. What's your opinion on this?
First and foremost, I agree with what Gregor Galway suggested there, which is something I suggested myself earlier. I don't think he'll go with Blade purely because he's never played with Crowley before. And I think it's a big risk to throw him in against the box above all people. You know, if you were desperate and you needed to, you'd have to do it. But I think he'll start with Casey, because I agree as well with Peter. He's a live wire at the breakdown. He's quick. He brings pace to the game. He's a good passer of the ball. He's a very good player, lads. He really is. And he's an annoying little fucker. And that's what we want against them.
Who Casey?
Yeah, he's an annoying wee fucker. To the opposition, he'll be in their face. You know,
he annoys me just fucking looking at him.
Well, I know that.
He's still a scrum half.
I do rate him, by the way. I think he's all right. I think he's okay. Now, I like Caelan Blade, but Caelan Blade, I'll be honest, I was surprised they took him on the tour, because he should have been in the training squads prior to now, really. And we kind of missed the trick a little bit with him. So
yeah.
He's 29. He'll be 30 this year, I think. But he's a very, very good player, very capable player. I would have no problem if they started with him. I don't think they can start with Murray, because I agree. I don't think you're getting a lot of time out of him, and he's lowest played out. He's too slow getting to the breakdown, and I think that's so important, especially against a team like South Africa, you know, because they will bring pace. I mean, Faf de Klerk will really be going for it like he always does.
Faf de Klerk thinks he's Anton.
Doesn't matter why he thinks
Faf de Klerk, would you stop it? Faf de Klerk, in my view, is overrated. He's very, very close to being on the spoofers list. Right?
To be honest, them budgie smugglers after he won the World Cup got him onto the spoofers list for me.
Oh, that was shocking. Jesus Christ. I drive-heaved for an hour after saying that. Jesus Christ almighty. There's a question, gentlemen, from Mike Looms. Looms, I presume. I don't know, Mike, if I'm pronouncing your surname right or wrong. I'm probably not.
Looms.
What about Prendergast? Peter Martin, what about Prendergast? Mike asks. Will we see him?
I would say we probably would see him at some stage during either of the tests. But Crowley's the man to start.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's that straightforward. The only thing I'll say about Prendergast is that obviously, you know, it's saying a lot really that, you know, both the Burns have been left at home, and Andy Farrell went straight for Kieran Frawley and Sam Prendergast as, you know, number 2 and 3 in the out half position for this short tour. So there's very much if that's not so much a subtle nudge, but like a shoulder, a Maori side step, you know, as regards you know, a hint as regards where it's what's happening. Like I would say, I wouldn't. It would be a real left field selection, and I think it would add a little bit of spice should Farrell name him on the bench in the first test. That's my view. Is that it'll be like, holy shit, lads, let's see what happens here. That it'll be a holy shit moment. Prendergast is coming on at 70 minutes. We don't know what the score will be in the 70th minute. Hopefully, there might be only a score in it. But it'll be a holy shit moment. This gets fucking interesting for the final while he's on the pitch.
Now it's getting serious, Pete, type thing.
Yeah.
Well, it's basically just the whole thing about the shackles are off. Like, just go out and play, lad. Just do the fuck whatever.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Dara Weston, Sam Prendergast, would you agree with what Pete said there? It's is he going to come on? Is he going to play? Is he going to start? Is he going to be benched or what?
I'd say we might see him. Well, he might get on the bench in the second test. I don't think in the first test he'll appear. I mean, Osborne is probably going to be either playing at 15 or on the bench to cover 15. So I don't see there being room for Prendergast on the bench. It's a hell of a start to blood him against the box. So he might get on the bench for a second match, but I don't see him getting on the bench this weekend.
I'd say, Dara, that Osborne will start at 15. I just a guess. Okay, thanks, Dara. Thanks, Pete. Mike Reedy, Sam Prendergast. Are we going to see him on this tour?
On this tour, I would like to think so, but I don't think so on Saturday at altitude. I'm thinking back to his two games against South African opposition for Leinster, and he did. To be fair, the whole team struggled, but he didn't come to the fore now. And that being said, it would be a serious curveball to throw in there, wouldn't it? Because that will be something. As fucking clever as Razzie thinks he is, he will not be expecting that. And I'd hate to throw him under a bus, because if it does become a case that we're getting absolutely fucking tanked in that game, and then you have to bring on a young boy like that and throw him into the cauldron, like it mightn't be good for his confidence. So I don't think he'll start. I don't think he'll play in the first game. And I'm not so sure about Osborne starting at fullback. I think Jimmy O'Brien will start at fullback because Osborne hasn't played there. I think Jimmy O'Brien will start at fullback, and I think Frawley will be on the bench covering both positions.
So would you go with a 5-3 bench, Mike?
I would, yeah.
All right, okay.
And I'd get completely. We have to get completely away from their train of thought. This fucking 6-2 carry or this 7-1 bullshit.
I mean,
they could end up with a different team, a different 23, by the way, than the one that's being named. See, come Saturday, you never know what's going to come out, what they're going to come out with. Like they'll fucking create an injury or something, like, and somebody will have to pull out, and they'll have someone else. They'll have a 7-1 or some bullshit like that. He does all this kind of stuff. It'd be nice to catch him at their own kind of game for once, Maybe trying.
We're not going to go 7-1. So I mean.
Oh no, absolutely not. No. That's not. It's totally against the way rugby should be played. This nonsense. It's fucking nonsense.
Okay. Thanks, Mike. Richard Holland waiting patiently. Sam Prendergast. Are we going to see him on this tour?
I think we will see him, but again, as the lad said, it will be the second test. I like Prendergast. He reminds me a lot, actually, in the way he plays with Crowley, in that Crowley, he doesn't play with any fear, and it's a great thing to see for a young player. It's refreshing. It's just, I'm going to fucking do this, and I know I can do this, so I'm going to try it. But as the lad said, throwing him into the fucking first test, untested. He's only really in the squad for the last 6 months, even the training squad. So I don't think we'll see him, but I would love to see the boy get a run, and I think in years to come, it's going to be between him and Crowley for the number 10 shirt and going forward for the next 10 years, probably.
But Richard, who also plays in the 10 position with that kind of joie de vivre, and it doesn't always work out, and a lot of the times he looks like a fucking idiot, is my pal Finn Russell.
Yeah, but
no, but you know what I mean. Like he has this abandonment, and
But both of them players have control as well. For Finn Russell, his own players don't know what he's going to do. I was fortunate to get down to see down to Thomond Park a couple of times this year, and Crowley never shuts up. He's always talking. You go here, you go there. He's always pointing. He's always directing. He actually runs the Munster attack even at his young age as it is. If you look him in the background when the ball is not there, he's always mouthing, he's shouting, he's telling you need to be there and you need to be here, and players listen to him. That's the great thing about it too. He has that.
Sounds like me fucking wife, Richard.
I was going to say it sounds like Johnny Sexton a little bit, but okay.
Well, there you go. Right, hold on now, gentlemen. Joe Lyons, hi Joe, good to have you with us again. Joe Lyons says the Boks have switched up their starting bench makeup, and they have packed the bench with speed, power rather than bulk power, as they have done in recent tests. Starting Bongi over Malcolm Marx is arguably Razzie showing his intent. Having Murray for the final 20 could be key, as a 5-5 or 5-7-9 will be ragdolled. Peter Martin, what do you think of Joe's comment there?
Well, it's interesting because I've seen both series of Chasing the Sun, and Rassie basically set his stall out as regards how he sees Bongi playing as hooker for South Africa. Bongi's nickname is Top Man. He basically makes reference to the fact that he looks like Mike Tyson, and he does actually look quite like Mike Tyson. The thing about Bongi is they call him Top Man because he leads. He loves the physical stuff. He's right in there where it's fucking hard, and it's his body's bashing, and it's going hot and heavy. So having Bongi there to start, it's basically, to use the language Ras used, it's there to physically fuck them up. And that's basically what it is. Marx is a bit more of an all court game. Marx is Dan Sheehan is more like Marx perhaps than he is like Bongi. Bongi, for my money, is more like a traditional hooker. An old-fashioned hooker is a more old-fashioned style to the way he plays the game. Sheehan is absolutely the more modern style of hooker. I would agree. I think the most important thing, really, what I noticed about that bench, and it's even the starting pack for the Boks. And I know perhaps I'm jumping ahead of you, Peter. You can stop me, but I'm going to say it anyway. Is the fact that you have at number 8, you have Quagga Smith, who's basically a fetcher, and alongside you've got Sia Khaleesi. So you've got 2 fetchers in that back row. So it's on the bench you have Van Staden, who's another fetcher. So don't be surprised.
Hold on, Pete. No. I was going to, sorry, Pete. I was going to just hold on a second, because we're going to go in and discuss the first test. So hold your thoughts on that for a minute. 1 second there. Conan McIntyre, the Messi of rugby. Okay. Mike Glooms, do you think Ireland's... Mike, would you cool your fucking tits, man? We're coming to. Would you stop? You're asking questions here we haven't even fucking discussed yet. They're coming up, so relax the fuck. Right? Thanks, Mike. Now, the next thing, Dara Weston. I'll come to you first on this. The South African, this online hatred or abuse and all this, like, it used to be the biggest, I suppose, clash was between Ireland and England. Whenever we played, there was always a bit of slagging, a bit of banter between the 2 sets of fans and all that sort of stuff. But it seems to have been overtaken when we play South Africa, be it manufactured, which I suspect it is. I know a few South African people, and they're fine people. That they love their rugby. They're not, as they sometimes are portrayed in social media, as being bitter losers. If they lose a game, they blame the ref. They blame the shape of the fucking rugby ball, or the weather, or my Owlin wasn't there, or whatever the fuck it is, right? And then you have Eben Etzebeth giving out that the Irish media went after him and from what he said, we'd see in the final or whatever that was. Is the competitive nature and what Razzie does as well? He was blaming Sexton. He also insinuated that Ninabar was giving him secrets, underhanded secrets to the Irish attack. Is this just a load of bollocks, all manufactured online, or is there a genuine? I believe there is a genuine competitiveness between the two teams, but it's gone fucking mad these days. The hatred, the so-called hatred, or bitterness, or whatever you want to call it, between Ireland and South Africa. Dara, what's your opinion on all this?
So there is still the rivalry with England, but I think a key differentiator is when we play any of the Southern Hemisphere teams, they don't have the same mentality that ourselves, England, Wales, Scotland, and even the French to a certain extent would have of being able to take and give a slagging. The Southern Hemisphere countries, the Australians, they can take a bit of a slagging because they've loads of Irish down there. They're basically like a colony of Ireland, England, Wales, Scotland. The Kiwis, a little bit less, probably because they're more arrogant because they've ruled the roost for years. The Safas, any Safas I've dealt with, they don't really take a slagging. They're more than happy to rip into you and talk about your team and this, that, and the other. But when the shoe's on the other foot, they get very bad. And they tend to. There tends to be rugby in South Africa. It's like fucking North Korea. Razzie says something and they all go yes. Razzie gives out about a ref. You have 350,000 South Africans attacking the ref on Twitter. Now, for them to say, I don't think the Irish are particularly violent or personal. You don't hear many people complain about Irish fans messaging them or messaging their family.
Have you seen some of my tweets, Dara?
Oh yeah, but you're the exception to the rule. We disowned you years ago. But yeah, so I think a lot of it, like this shite Razzie saying Nina Bar is been spying and all this, and he's given secrets. How many years was Razzie in Ireland? Okay, there's not many Munster men on the team, but he was well exposed to Irish rugby, and so he'd be well aware of how we play. And then Etzebeth, for God's sake, somebody get him a warm blanket and give him a cuddle. Like the press were mean to him. He's a professional sports player, and he's annoyed because the press weren't nice to him.
Mm.
Jesus Christ! The fella needs a clip round the head.
Yeah.
That's what the press do. They stir up shite, and the more you pretend you're annoyed or upset about it, the more they'll go after you. But no, I don't think it's. I don't think it's gotten well. I don't think it's got particularly violent or out of hand from our side, but I think the problem is they can't take a slagging, and so they're happy to slag us. When we slag back, they get very irate and upset, and the toys go out of the pram quite quickly.
Yeah,
and,
true.
And then they're following their coach, and former coaches like Jake White, Razzie, going on big fucking essays on Twitter about how bad what every 20 points the referee missed in a match. That's not how other coaches act for other countries. So it's a coach's job to lead by example.
Yeah, true. I totally agree with what everything you said there, Dara. Mike Reedy, this what do you make of all this online?
It's completely contravenes the ethics of rugby for me. The whole shebang. Razzie, in my opinion, is an absolute fucking disgrace. Like his behavior as a head coach of any team, and some of the things he's saying, it's wrong. See when you start blaming referees and blaming everything on yourself, you've got problems. By the way, I don't think he's anywhere close to being as clever as he gives himself credit for, or other people give him credit for being. I watched that Chasing the Sun that you were talking about, Peter, there, and I was really, really impressed with Felix Jones. I'll tell you that, by the way, and he had a major input into South Africa winning that World Cup.
Well,
But
you were saying that, Joe. You were saying that.
As regards Etzebeth, It's crybaby stuff, lads. Come on, fucking. I know it's not. We can't say it's a men's game, but in this case, it's a fucking man's game. It's meant to be. He should behave like a fucking grown, and like go crying to the school teacher when somebody says boo to him. Behave yourself. I don't
If he
know.
wants to do that, he should have been a scrum half.
I have a concern. A weak concern that. Do you guys remember the 98 game when we played them in Durban or Pleasanton, Durban, there's fucking Pretoria as well, and there was absolute murder at, like, you know, we fought them on the pitch like it was a run. The game was a running battle, and I have concerns that the game could descend in the way they're projecting all this garbage forward. Has this test on Saturday got the capability to descend into chaos? Because that'll suit them. But once
I don't think so, Mike. I don't think it'll descend into chaos, simply because I don't think either team wants to get a yellow card or a red card, and then the blame then lands on, oh well, we had 14 players for 10. I don't think it's going to go into. I highly doubt it.
What is the situation regarding the yellow? Are we trialing this 20-minute yellow card or red card?
No.
crap?
That's the under 20.
Red card is a red card.
Try that on the young lads with the soft heads.
Exactly, yeah. As you said, Darragh, before, yeah, in a post, yeah, and which I thought was a great one. Right, Richard Holland, this whole online South African hate joy thing versus us, where traditionally it was Ireland v England. We didn't know, which is completely understandable, Ireland v England, but Ireland v South Africa, it's all fake. It's all manufactured.
It is. It's the press has a lot to do with it. And I'll give you a perfect example of this, and I'll also tie it in with Eden Elizabeth. The South African press started a rumor when Van der Fleer was voted World Player of the Year that he was born in South Africa, and he was called a traitor. He was called this. He was called that. He's no connection with South Africa whatsoever.
No.
Van der Fleer, to his credit, never opened his mouth.
Yeah.
He didn't. And this was started by the South African press. Elizabeth should fucking take a page out of Van der Fleer's book and say nothing. Just keep his mouth shut. It's nothing that hasn't been printed about every other player that ever played the game at one stage or another. It's all a lot of shite. Now, obviously, the press down there and up here picked it up and ran with it. But that's what press do. That's exactly what they're there for. This is what they're paid for, to print inches.
Yeah, true, Richard. Yeah, I just see a comment there from Joe Lyons. I get the banter, but when you start with the Paddy and Leprechaun crap and questioning all the non-Irish players and their commitment, it's no longer banter, just being a complete. Sorry, hold on. Mouse work. Just being, yeah, okay. So Conan McIntyre, all just seems like mind games from the box. Yeah, it does. Yeah,
there's definitely that. There is a little bit of that. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Our old pal James Grennan, greetings from sunny Tenerife. Hi, James. Hope you're having a good time.
Sangria going over there, is there?
Good man, James. Hope you're enjoying it. Gregor Galway, I believe Razzie scored in that game that Mike said. I think he did, Gregor. I think he did. Yeah. Now, gentlemen, just to finish off on that particular point that we're talking about, the South African Irish thing, there was a couple of comments that I saw in the group. David O'Brien on the even Etzebeth thing that the Irish media went after him and all this fucking bollocks. David O'Brien said, sufferers, honestly, they have become absolutely unbearable. If anyone talks about them, they complain. If no one talks about them, they complain. If they believed in themselves as much as they say, there would be no need to engage in all of this shit. The way they are going on, it'll be an absolute embarrassment to them if they don't win by 50 points. And I actually totally agree with that.
That's not a fair. Yeah, that's a fair point, actually. Yeah,
I would agree. I think that's to the point, and that's it. Jer O'Reilly also commented on a post. He said about Eben Etzebeth. He said, lost all respect for him. Great player, but to say any Irish team led by Farrell would be so presumptuous as to assume making a World Cup final is frankly ludicrous.
To be honest,
So,
I reckon that was just a throwaway comment after a game anyway. I'd be quite honest.
Many of us have said that in any sport. In any sport you've ever played.
Yeah.
If you've beaten a team and all you're actually doing is giving them a little bit of credit and give them a bit of a boost because they've been beat.
Game, I'll see you in the final. Yeah.
Game guys, we'll see you in the final.
Yeah. So,
I mean, grow up.
Yeah. I
wasn't
told
like he said he was going to see his ma that evening or something, you know.
Yeah, no, I agree. Anyway, folks, we'll leave that one there. Richard Holland, I'll come to you first on this one. The Heineken Cup draw. Now, let's have a look at these. Let's go through them and let me hear your thoughts on this and who's biggest threats, who's likely to come out on top. We have Ulster's group. Ulster have, unfortunately, they have Toulouse, they have Exeter, they have Bordeaux, they have Leicester, and they have the Sharks. Richard, looking at that, would you be saying a prayer for Ulster?
Yeah, to quote a wise man that I know from Meath, thoughts and prayers. It's Jesus. Now, myself and my dad, who is an Ulsterman, we were talking about it today, and he said, to be quite honest, Ulster have no one to blame but themselves. It's a horrible group, and I don't think they have a prayer coming out of it.
Oh, really? All right. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, it's just, I think it's one of them. They'll just be absolutely skittled.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Peter Martin, that's Ulster's group. What do you think? Toulouse, Exeter, Bordeaux, Leicester, and Sharks.
Yeah, on paper, it is as Richard Holland's already said.
It looks fucking shite.
But, and here's the but.
Go on.
I would say Richie Murphy is there rubbing his hands saying, nobody will give us a prayer. And I think it will suit. I think I would suggest that Ulster could be kingmakers in that. The kind of team, are they going to qualify? Probably not. But I think they'll put in, they have the potential with Murphy there and the way Ulster finished the season. There'll be a little bit of an unknown quantity in some respects to the likes of, not Toulouse, but the other teams, your Exeter, your Sale Sharks, Bordeaux in particular.
Leicester,
yeah. There'll be a little bit of an unknown quantity, and I would back Richie and Ulster to pull 2 or 3 big performances and fuck up other teams in that group and their chances of getting out as number 2.
Really? Okay.
That's what I think. I think the results, the performances, assuming they put in the performances they're capable of, and I think Murphy will get it out of them. They will determine who finishes, who also qualifies alongside Toulouse. That's my tuppence worth.
Okay, and yep, absolutely. Darragh Weston, that particular Ulster's group. Jesus, I mean, looking at it, I don't know. What do you think, Darragh?
Yeah, no, I'd agree with an awful lot of what Peter says. It's basically, they're starting as underdogs. They've nothing to lose. I mean, nobody could see them getting out of that group. Everybody's going to say that's too strong for them. So I would imagine Richie Murphy is like, well, fuck it, we'll give it a go and cause a few upsets along the way, and get some maybe some famous wins in Ravenhill again, or Kingspan, whatever they're calling it now. But it's a horrible group. But I think they'll be so underrated in the group that they could cause a few problems for other teams and might be the downfall of 1 or 2 other teams.
Yeah, true. I actually, to be honest with you, Darragh and Pete, I don't think there's any, and gentlemen, I don't think there's any easy groups looking at the draw. Mike Reedy, that particular group that Ulster find themselves in.
If we're basing all our thoughts on the season just gone, You don't give Ulster any chance. You give them no chance. But I don't think we can do that. By the way, I agree with what Peter Martin said exactly. You know, I think Richie Murphy will have a fucking we think up his sleeve here and think what have they got? They've got nothing to lose. Absolutely nothing to lose, and they will. I think they'll cause upsets. You know, you don't see them getting nothing against Toulouse or home or away, but I'll tell you, I think they could frighten both of the English teams. Because they ain't that fucking strong anymore. Either Sale or
Exeter and Leicester.
Leicester. It is Leicester, right?
Yeah.
We don't know what they're going to be like either. There's turmoil going on at their place at the moment as well. Bordeaux, you'd expect would be strong enough still. They're fairly able players, but you know what? Ulster have nothing to lose, so they're going to go into every one of those games with the opposition thinking they have nothing to do when they turn up. So,
but Mike, is that the right attitude for a rugby team and a coach? We've nothing to lose.
Well, of course it's not, and they won't be thinking that. But that is the reality. They don't have anything to lose. Now, Richie Murphy is not going to win same way of nothing to lose. No chance. He's going to win wanting to win every game. That isn't his style of playing rugby, and as he has done wonders in the space of a few months there, absolute wonders, because they were. It wasn't a slippery slope; it was a fucking landslide, and he's turned that around in the space of a short few months. So you could expect you could get an awful lot more from Ulster next season, by the way, than most people are expecting. I really hope that they are.
I think that do they have a few signings coming in as well?
Well, they have a couple of young lads. They have certainly two young boys that are playing. One is both of them are in the 20s team now, the Ireland 20s team. Jack Murphy and that's Sam, the guy who scored a hat trick.
Oh, the Berman, yeah. Okay. Thanks, Mike. Richard Holland, that particular group for Ulster.
You're asking me already, didn't you?
Did I ask you already?
You did. You opened up with me, yeah.
Oh, I did. Sorry. Okay. Right. Mike, back to you. Leinster's group. They've got Leinster have Bristol, Claremont, Benetton, La Rochelle again, and Bath.
Do you know something? It's not the worst group, but you're going to love it, aren't you, Peter? Because your old pal's going to be coming to play in fucking RDS.
Fuck's sake! Yeah.
But do you know what? It's Leinster. We're going to have to see what Leinster team's starting to turn up now, lads, because the way the season ended is very disappointing. So they're going to have to dust themselves down and shake themselves off and start again. La Rochelle seem to have taken a little bit of a back step as well. So you can't say who's the two English teams. They've got Claremont and who were the two English teams?
Bristol and Bath.
Neither of them are world beaters, being honest. Bath are probably decent enough, but I'd fancy you'd have to say Leinster, like on paper, should be getting out of that group.
All right. Definitely. Okay. Richard Holland, that particular group, looking at it on paper: Leinster, Bristol, Claremont, Benetton, La Rochelle, and Bath.
Now, I think personally you'll have La Rochelle and Leinster coming out of that group. Claremont might be at the dark horse on that one. I honestly can't see any of the English teams been putting up to either La Rochelle or putting up to Leinster. It's just they're leagues ahead of them. Both of those teams are leagues ahead.
Okay. Conan McIntyre, going to be a hard group for us Ulster fans. Yeah, possibly Conan. Yeah, possibly. Yeah. Let me see. What's this? Sorry, folks. 1 second here. Joe Lyons. Big question mark over Bordeaux, and do they do a Frenchie and simply ignore the EPCR next year after the T14 hammering? Good question, Joe. Yeah. Mike Sheedy, they only play games with Irish players into heads, but Irish teams know that they will win on this Saturday. Ireland 20 versus South Africa 10. Don't know about that, Mike.
For optimism, Mike.
Good, yeah. James Grannon, once you've heard one rugby joke, you've heard.
Oh God.
Grennan. Would
Hold
you
your
just enjoy
group,
your
James.
enjoy your sangria, Grant?
Oh, drink cocktails
Stop.
for
Stop it. Ulster, Conan, Ulster have signed Aidan Morgan and Wiener
Ferner
Koch
Cock.
for next season. Good man. Yeah.
Sarah
Really
Duffy's going to love that.
Yeah, well, there you go. Sarah Duffy, there you go. Catherine Keegan wouldn't write off Bath. Yeah, okay. Yeah, fair enough. Okay, Mike Reedy and Richard Holland being two of the Munster fans here. Munster's group. Mike, I'll come to you first.
Do we not get to talk about Leinster?
Oh, sorry, Gary. Go on.
Well, no, just one point
Sorry.
I want to make on Leinster. Leinster's group. It's the
I'm
only group
jumping.
that
I'm
doesn't
jumping
have to.
well ahead. I'm jumping well ahead of myself. Sorry.
No, it's grand. The only interesting point about Leinster's group is it's the only group that doesn't have to travel to South Africa. It's all
I didn't
short
notice that.
flights.
Fair point, yeah.
Oh, the Sharks.
Sharks.
Are we
Are
going to
the
have them
Sharks
at home?
in? I didn't think the
Leinster
Sharks were
have
in with us.
no.
They can't. They can't play
Oh,
if
sorry,
they're playing
hold
in
on,
the
hold
same
on.
domestic league.
Hold on. Sorry. My apologies. Leinster have Bristol, Claremont, Benetton, La Rochelle, and Bath. Yeah, sorry, you're right
Yeah,
there. Yeah.
no South Africans. So
Yeah.
it's only flights to Italy, England, and France.
No,
So
Yeah.
even on that, you can't play if they're in the same domestic league. They won't play each other in the pool stages.
yeah,
That's the way it was last year.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not the
Yeah.
same, but that was the way it was last year.
Yeah, but
No,
there's
but
only three.
Munster have one of the South African teams in their pool.
There's only two
Yeah,
South
but they won't
African.
play each other.
Oh,
They
right,
won't
Why
actually meet each other
won't
in
they
the pool
play each other,
stages.
Richard?
They done the same last year. I don't know. This is what the ERP decided. That if you play in the same quote unquote domestic league, you won't meet. You can't play in the pool stages together, even though you're in the same pool.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah. Sorry, Dara. Hold on one sec. Peter Martin, did I ask you about this group?
No.
All right, go on then.
You're the forgotten man there, Pete.
Yeah.
Oh,
Have you got?
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, he's fucking. He's
No,
jumped
just
ship
as
now.
regards, I think
Hold on, David.
Leinster and La Rochelle are basically the top tier clubs in their particular group.
Yeah.
I don't think Bath and Bristol aren't really there. Bath, they've much improved under Van Graan, much as I hate to say it. They were in with a shout for the Gallagher Premiership there last year. And I feel there's a bet coming on as regards you being at that one of those Leinster Bath matches as well. But yeah, no, look, it's. I think Leinster have to pull their socks up. As simple as, like, we still don't know what's going on. We still haven't heard about the review. I'm assuming there's a review of some shape or form, but like the silence is definitely coming from UCD Donnybrook. So we don't know what's happening or isn't happening coming from there. But Leinster just have to get back to where they were last season, in the final, and take it from there.
Yeah, but I mean, Pete, if you look at it on paper, right, you've got Leinster, Bristol, Claremont, Benetton, La Rochelle, and Bath. If we all looked at that just simply on paper, and you said who's going to qualify or who's going to be 1-2 in that group, you'd probably say Leinster, La Rochelle, either or La Rochelle or Leinster, La Rochelle, would you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm.
Like, we're going to have Snyman and we'll have Jordy Barrett.
Yeah.
Not that we need them personally, but they're going to be there. That's just going to basically, Leinster and La Rochelle will be nailed down as favourites to come out of their group.
Yeah.
Means
Okay.
Leinster are there to be shot down yet again at group stage, but it is what it is.
Yeah. All right, Pete, back to you. Munster's group. Munster have Northampton Saints, Stade Francais, Saracens, the Bulls, and Castres. That's a tough group.
That's a nasty group.
Yeah,
that's in my view that's particularly nasty. You have Saracens, who are still a heavyweight of the English game. You have Stade Francais, who, again, they had a strong run in the top 14 until it got to the final stages. You have the Sharks, did you say, are in that group?
Bulls.
The Bull. Oh Christ, the Bulls. Jesus Christ. Yeah, the Bulls. Say no more. You know, and they've Northampton, like who Leinster bet in the semi-final.
Yeah.
Like Jesus Christ.
Knocked them.
Sorry.
They knocked
us out last year.
Out as well.
Yeah. Well, there you go. You know, it's back to the scene of the crime again. It's going to be a fucking tough bloody. It's going to be a tough campaign. Simple as. Cast are probably, if you want to call them the weakest of those teams, they're probably the weakest team. But you know, any like Jeremy Davison is with Cast how many years? You know, and they traditionally are good in Europe. They tend to give they're nowhere in the top 14, but they give Europe a crack. So, and I think there's a bit of niggle there between, I think Cast and Munster, correct me if I'm wrong, have a little bit of a rivalry there, have a rivalry. There's a bit of bad blood, there's a bit of niggle there as well. So, it's all to play for.
Yeah, true. Dara Weston, what do you think?
So, my wife warned me I'm legally obliged to say Munster will come out of the group, obviously.
That thumbprint's getting bigger in your head, Dara.
Jesus Christ, Dara.
About it. Yeah. Stade Francais, wasn't it Stade that played the second string team against Leinster in the Aviva? And their coach said he was surprised they got one score. So you never know with them. They may do the usual French thing of sending over a second string squad to Thomond. I think it could be Northampton and Munster coming out of it. I prefer not to see Saracens getting anything, to be honest. Now,
no, I'd agree.
Man City of rugby, you know. I mean, it's just. But yeah, no. Of my own free will, I do believe Munster will get out of the group.
And Dara, what does your wife think? What does she tell you to say?
She believes the same. She's a Cork woman. She wants a Munster La Rochelle.
I know. I know.
All right, Eben.
Dara, do you know what? Yourself and Joe Biden have something in common. You're very good at the video printer.
Ooh.
That's it. Listen, she's a lawyer. I've no fucking choice.
Say nothing. Say nothing, Dara. Say nothing. Richard Holland, what about that group? You being one of the two Munster fans on the panel here tonight.
Now, just to agree with, when I initially seen the group, that's exactly what Dara said. That's exactly, it'll be Munster or Northampton coming out of that group. But of all the pools, it's the closest, if you know what I mean, in terms of the quality of the teams. Of any given day, someone could go somewhere and win by 3 points and upset the whole fucking thing again. That's the long and the short of it. But it's, to use a soccer term, Peter, and I apologise.
Stop with
it's
you.
The group
with the roundy ball fucking shit. Will you shut up the fuck?
It's the no, but it is actually the group of death. There's going to
there's
two big teams that will not come out of that group.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. Gregor, go away. Sorry, Mike, before I come to you on this, Munster don't play the Bulls. They do, Gregor. Just have a look at the pools. They do. Mike Reedy, that particular pool, Munster's pool, you being the second, not to put you down a notch, but you're the second I'm coming to on this. That particular group that Munster are in.
I think it's a tough group for.
Oh, it is. It is.
I don't know. It's. I think Munster. I think they'll get the better of Castra and Stade, but Saracens, Northampton, and the Bulls. It's going to be. It'll be two of those four for me. I'd love to have the confidence to say, I think Munster kind of maybe could have even overachieved this year.
Come on, get off the fence. Get off the fence.
Yeah, exactly, Darry. Yeah, I was just thinking the same thing. Come on, Mike.
Fence, not me.
Will you get off the fucking fence, Mike?
Who's
coming out of the
rule
fucking group?
2 of the 6 teams that won't qualify. The other 4 you think might all qualify.
I think it's very, very difficult. By the way, I think the Bulls have a fucking serious chance. And I'll be honest. Even as a Munster man, I'll be happy if we come out. But I can see it being the Bulls and Northampton.
So you
Mike,
don't see Munster.
Mike,
You don't see
Jesus,
Munster
you'll
coming out
never
of that
be
one.
allowed flying to Shannon again.
No, I'm fucking banned.
Mike, do you know what I think, Mike? I think you like splinters. That's what I think you like.
I'm not on any fence.
He's progressed. He sits on electric fences now.
You're the fucking one. Weston is on the fence anyway because his wife told him to stay on the fence.
Right. Anyway, gentlemen.
No.
Before we're well over the hour mark. And the last one. Now there's loads I have on my list that we wanted to talk about, but the under-20s, the World Cup, the Women's World Cup, but we just don't have the time. But the last one I want to talk about is the Challenge Cup. Now we have one Irish team of interest in that. Obviously, that being Connacht. Richard Holland, I'll come to you first on this. The Challenge Cup, Connacht have in their group Cardiff, Cheetahs, Lyon, Zebra, and Perpignan. That's not an easy group either, Richard.
No, but that being said, Connacht under day have the beating of all those teams.
That is
I will
doing
say
the
that about
fucking
them.
hold. Would you
Yeah.
ever stop it? With Jesus
But
Christ.
the likes of Cardiff, that have the beating of Cardiff. Zebra, not great either.
Cheetahs,
No.
Lyon. No,
No, I don't know much about the Cheetahs because they went away for a couple of years, didn't they?
they did, but they're not bad.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
they're not bad.
That's
And
nice.
Perpignan
Well,
are
Perpignan
not a
are
bad.
always, they're always thereabouts. I even
Yeah,
think they have a couple of European cups in their own right. I think back in the day.
They probably fucking robbed them somewhere. Mike Reedy, Connacht's group in the Challenge Cup. Connacht have Cardiff, Cheetahs, Lyon, Zebra, and Perpignan. Mike.
I'm going to go with Connacht and Perpignan coming out of that group. I don't know. I will have to put my hands up and say I know absolutely zero about the Cheetahs, what they are capable of. So this is on I'm using my get
Very
out.
fast.
Yeah. Connacht. I'm going to say Connacht have a chance. Fuck it, they're an Irish team. I have to give them a chance. I'm actually going to revert back. I'm going to say Munster coming out of the group. Fuck it, as well.
You can't say Munster are going to come out of that group.
Munster and the Bulls out of the other group. Northampton can go and take a good flying.
Would you stick to what we're fucking talking about, please? Anyway,
Right,
thank you. Right, okay, grand job. Peter Martin, that's the Challenge Cup, Connacht's group. What do you reckon?
Yeah, like I think like there's going to be massive pressure on Connacht to do something, next season because like the way this past season has just been, it's the way it's just fallen apart badly for Pete Wilkins. Like I would say that there could be the knives that could be sharpened for him, because it's just the manner. It's not so much that there was a poor performance, you could put your finger on it. There's just so many bad aspects to their bad performances that you're just going, what the fuck are they at? What has been said? What are they being told? What's the game plan? All these things. And that's not just me saying it that day. That's Connacht fans. And that's there. I just noticed James has just put a nail in the head. Consistency is Connacht's issue. We could top the pool or lose all games. I think, to be honest with you, if Wilkins is going to keep his position as head coach, and if they're basically serious, I would suspect Connacht need to actually go and win that group. They need to make a statement. And to be honest, if you look at the teams that are in, the Cheetahs are a South African franchise that are back at it. We don't know what kind of players they're going to have. It'll be all fresh stuff, fresh combinations, yada yada blah blah. Zebra, muck. Perpignan, strong French heritage, strong tradition. I think they're Pro D2, if I'm not mistaken. So they're not they're a name, but they're not the strength of the past. Cardiff, they'll be potentially an issue for Connacht, but obviously they're well capable of beating them. I don't know who else is in that in their group, but I think
Cardiff
needs
Leon.
Cardiff,
Leon.
Yeah, Leon.
Yeah, Leon, reasonable French. They were better when they had a couple of more of their French international players, the likes of Olivon, who left them. I don't think Leon are a French powerhouse the way they were a couple of seasons ago. So I'm not really expecting a whole pile. I wouldn't be expecting a whole pile from Leon, but I think Connacht are under pressure to make a statement, and I think they have a great opportunity to do that in the Challenge Cup.
All right, okay. Dara, did I ask you about this?
No, so I'll give it to you
Right,
quick.
go on.
The two French teams, I disregard them. Fucking, you never know what's going to happen with the French team, so I'm just going to write them off. Zebra, the poor relation of Italian rugby. If it had been Treviso in Connacht's group, that could have been sticky for them. They got lucky in getting Zebra. I think that should be okay. Cardiff, on paper they should be Cardiff, but you never know. Cardiff could, even a blind squirrel finds a nut every so often, so they could pull one off.
Jesus, would
And
you
I
ever
think
come up with it? Would you ever come up with a new
You
fucking
have to
saying?
fucking fence.
You've said that every fucking time you're on. You've said a blind squirrel finds a fucking nut every 12 years.
okay, even Grennan comes out
Peter
with a funny
Birkin, like
joke
a
every
verbal
so
handbrake.
often.
Will you shut the fuck up and let the man speak?
Go on.
I think the key thing, though, next year is if you look at the big problem with Connacht this year was also that, I mean, they were without their international players. Mack was injured. Bundy was wrecked after the World Cup. He was out for it. Finlay Beelum, they had him for a few matches. I think if Hansen is back from injury, they could do very well. Certainly qualify out of their group. So.
All right. So, but before we finish up, gentlemen, looking at the Heineken Cup draw, Ulster, Leinster, Munster, and the Challenge Cup draw, Connacht, briefly from all of you, who is qualifying from all those groups? Ulster, Leinster, Munster, Connacht. Go on, shout it out. Anyone?
Leinster, Munster, and Connacht.
Oh, so Ulster, no.
I agree with Richard.
I do as well.
Ulster might pull off like a, Toulouse in Ravenhill. They might pull off a victory like that and maybe get another one or two surprise victories. But I can't see them getting enough to qualify out of that group.
No.
Yeah, I kind of, excuse me, I kind of agree with that as well. I think it'd be, Ulster might, I don't know, but they might come up. The losers, I hate that word, but they might not qualify. Yes, absolutely. Right, gentlemen, we're way over time, and all that's left for me to do is to thank you all. Thank you all for watching.
Are we not doing predictions?
Are we not doing what?
Are we not doing a prediction?
No, we're not doing predictions. No, I'm not doing predictions. No, we're 12 minutes. No, we're
You
not.
mean you're not?
Well, go on, do your fucking predictions then. Go on, Richard. Off you go. Do your predictions.
Ireland by 6.
Oh, okay. Mike?
I'm going to go Ireland by any score, whatever score. I don't care. 1 point.
Okay. Peter Martin?
Hopefully us by 3.
Oh, okay. Dara?
I'm in two minds. Either we just sneak it by 3, like Peter said, or we're down towards the end and we manage to scrape a draw.
Yeah,
and that'd bugger up the whole series because then there can't be an outright winner.
A Crowley drop goal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not going to predict fucking anything.
You're not allowed.
Other than you'll be drunk.
I'm not allowed, and I'm fucking shite at it, by the way.
Fucking barring
anyway,
order.
gentlemen. Exactly, yeah. So now all that's left for me to do, we're way over time. We'll end it here now. All that's left for me to do is to thank everyone who was watching, who offered an opinion, who commented. We got to as many as we could. So thank you. My thanks to Mike Reedy, Richard Holland, Dara Weston, and Peter Martin. Gentlemen, enjoy the rest of your evening, and we shall chat again this time, or 8:30, next Wednesday. Gents, thanks a million. Talk to you.
Everybody.
Take care.
Toodles.
All the best.
Everyone.
Bye-bye.